This is LTS BoF. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you. So, hello everybody. My name is Anton Gladky, and today I will try to manage this BoF, LTS BoF, long-term support. It's the first time when I'm doing it offline, so but I'll try anyway. I'm very glad that so many people are coming here, and maybe you have some interest on this topic. I hope this topic is not quite new for you. Anyway, I will try to get a short introduction about this topic. What is LTS? What is long-term support? And it's supposed to be like a small session with short information, and then we'll open Q&A, question and answer sessions. So feel free to prepare some questions if you're interested in this topic, and we'll go on. Yeah, what is LTS? LTS is long-term support. That just means that we are, oh nice, we have a second speaker right now. Hi, Utkarsh. I can now introduce the third part of our BoF, so I hope we'll be able to show some numbers from our statistics. We had a survey a couple of months ago, and Utkarsh prepared it very nicely, and I hope he will show us a couple of results from this survey. But it's parallel things. Let's start from LTS. LTS, it's long-term support, as I said before. So normally we have, after the new Debian version is released, we have 3 years of support. And after that, it's security team is taken over of security updates for the current version, stable version, and also plus 1 year for so-called old stable version. So you see, for example, the last newest version, Debian 10 Basta, was released 2019. And it is now, we have 2022, so almost 3 years is gone. And after this period, when we do not have LTS, it's actually it. So you can continue to use this release further on your machines. But the problem is that you do not get any more support. You do not get any more updates, security updates, and any others. And for most of normal users, I would say it's okay, because people are still trying to use this small period to upgrade to a newer version. But for companies, for example, it's not quite good, because for some of them upgrade is really difficult, and that is why Debian was not so attractive for large companies and firms if they do not want to upgrade each 2-3 years the whole software, the whole operating system. That is why this LTS initiative was invented. So it means that we are just prolonging the support for the old stable release for next 2 years. So it just means that we are taking over a Debian 10 Basta for the next 2 years, and we'll provide security updates for this version. But what happens after this 2 years period? We have so-called extended long-term support, and it's something relatively new. We are trying to provide plus 5 years of support for the old stable release, just to guarantee that the customers can use it for the next 5 years. So basically, what we are doing with the whole team is just to make 10 years, to guarantee 10 years support for each release. So right now we have Debian 10, which has been, I think it should happen 1st of August. We'll get it as a LTS, and we have 2 more releases, Debian 8 JC and Debian 9 Stretch, as an extended LTS support right now. What does the team? What is the LTS team? It's basically 12 till 15 members. It's changing all the time. Some people are coming, some people are going, but anyway, usually we are now last year's about these numbers, 12 till 15 members. We have over 50 supporting companies through Friction SARL. And those companies are supporting the team. And Frixion is just distributing this support among of developers. And what we are doing, we are producing only in LTS, only in long-term support, about 30, 40 updates per month. So a different number of CVEs, which we are closing all the time, but it's about 30 till 40 updates. So basically, if you are using this LTS, you'll get relatively a lot of updates. So it's one more, so if you want to get know a little bit more about, well, we do not have any more place, but I think it's okay, yeah. It's, yeah. It's a table, a timetable for the current releases and upcoming Debian 11 bullseye, which we'll get hopefully in 2 years. But more information you can get from wiki debian.org/LTS, where you can get the whole information about support. As I said before, we have plus 2 years of support for LTS. For LTS, we are using Debian infrastructure. So it means that if you are using stable and then old stable and then old stable, you should do nothing. You just do your regular updates using upget, update, upget, dist-upgrade, and so until you get just updates transparently. It's not the case for extended LTS. I'll come to this topic a little bit later, but basically we are using Debian infrastructure for all of our LTS updates. It's good for all users, even those who are not sponsored in this initiative, but I think it's very good, good one. Yeah, as I told you before, this whole financial support is driven by Frixion SRL, who are distributing this financial support. Yeah, a couple more words about ELTS. So as I said before, we have plus 5 years of support. Totally, we are guaranteed for 10 years from initial release. We do not use Debian infrastructure for this ELTS, so we are basically building the packages on the servers of Frixion, and if you want to use this extended LTS support, you need to update settings in etc opt sourcesly, so you have to add the GPG key of Frixion and also the servers. And we also have a limited set of supported architectures and packages, and that just means that we do not guarantee the support for all packages, but only for those that are used by customers. If you want to get some more information, please go to website of Frixion and you'll get the whole information how it's done. But basically, if the new customer is coming, he is just producing the list of packages used by him. And we are adding this set of packages into our infrastructure, and then we are having a statistics of all packages used by customers, and the packages which are most used by them will get support more quickly as others. We have also a Linux kernel backport, so it means that we are not able to take a kernel release together with normal release. We have to backport a new one. Yeah, that's actually it. More information you will find on wiki and of the page of Frixion. Some facts which I want to highlight. Yeah, we are supporting all the releases packages because yeah, not everybody is able to upgrade the software so quickly. Why we do usually the usual maintainer can update packages in old stable releases, but from experience we can say that maintainers are having less interest in updating, except of some people. But usually people are more interested, maintainers are more interested in newer versions of software, newer features, and fixing old security bugs in the software which was released 10 years ago or 5 years ago. There are less interest. That is why this LTS team is existing. Basically, Debian is getting more attractive, mostly for companies, for corporate segment, as I told before, and I hope that we have a positive influence on free software, because we are the whole work is very transparent, so you can just use the products of this work for your own and for free software again. What we do, I'm almost finished with my small talk. What we actually do, we are preparing security updates for packages, but not only. Some of updates are not security related. For example, we need to update some certificates which are expired already in old packages. I think Utkarsh, you were involved in this certificate update. Yeah. Yeah, so it just means that it's not quite security related, but we have to do it because if you want to use an old browser or anything, so you need to update certificates. Also, we are updating DZ data. It's time zone library also needed because different countries are updating their rules about time, and some other not security related updates. Also, we are doing a CVE triaging, so we are just we have so-called front desk duties. It means that we are looking for a new CVEs, we are just checking them, and we check whether this CVE, this vulnerability can be applied to the particular package and version. We are also working together with security team very intensive, so we are always contacting them and they contacting us, so this common work is very reliable and also it is good for both sides. Also we write patch, so if you see that upstream is dead from a particular software package and nobody is doing it, but we need to update it, we need to fix the security problem. Sometimes we write this patch and we allow to use it any other, for example, distributions, they can just take it. We have an example of such cases. Most of developers are providing monthly reports, which was done on this LTS, and not only, so it means most of users, most of developers are just getting information and blogging about the work done on free software activities during the previous months, and that's it. Also, we have a so-called project funding initiative, though it just means that I would propose you to see a talk last year at DebConf. It was online. There's some amount of money which can be distributed on common projects like improving the Debian infrastructure or, for example, maintaining of some very specific packages, very complicated one. But it's another topic, but anyway, it's also related to LTS team. Yeah, and we also try to apply some patches for CVEs as soon as possible. I think you heard about one very serious security problem last year in Log4j software. And as far as I know, we reacted very, very quickly about this problem, and patches were released in very short time. So we are trying to be very, very fast. Yeah, basically, this LTS existing since 2014, I think, and almost every year we have Debian BoF or talk on DebConf. So you see the list of a list of all information about LTS if you are interested in it. So basically, the whole concept is not changed since years. So I have just had a look on all of those talks, and I can say that most of information is still can be applied. So it's still new one. So just have a look at the talks if you are interested in these topics. The last one, as I told you before, DebConf 21, funding projects to improve Debian. It's some specific topic. It's not quite related to security updates, but anyway, it is also related. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much for your attention. Utkarsh, are you ready? Can we try? So Utkarsh is one of LTS team members for many years. 3 years. Yeah, it's many years. Yeah, and muted? Okay. And he prepared a survey and he asked some developers, and now we can see the results. Should I switch?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Does it break something? I hope no. Please. Yeah.
Okay, so is my voice audible now? Cool. So we ran this Debian developer survey in the month of April. We invited all the Debian developers to participate in this quick survey. Well, it was not so quick, but it took like 20 to 30 minutes. And we have the statistics. Just before I dive into the statistics and some of the interesting answers, I would want you to know this is just a quick sneak peek. A compiled result would be sent to the mailing list as well, as we had promised, once we have completed the whole thing. So we had a number of questions which were 25. It ran for 4 weeks from April 7th to May 7th. The total number of responses were 268. Complete responses were 224. Incomplete were 44. Incomplete means people started to do it, but then left it in between for various reasons, either lack of time or did not want to or whatever. We had a good amount of response, 224 DDs, which is generally typical to what we get in a GR, right? So there are a few interesting answers that I would want to show. So if you can see, like, we have graphical analysis for all of them. But here, would you like to spend more time contributing to Debian? You can see, like, 64% of people said yes, they would like to, which is nice, right? And then there are subsequent follow-up questions like, are you currently working at a job that pays for some or all of your contributions to Debian? Well, 64% people said no, which is sad, but would you like to get a job where you can contribute to Debian? 39% said yes, and 44% say, I don't know. Mixed results, but cool. And then we have, yes. If your Debian work was to be remunerated, would you be able to sustain your current Debian involvement? 72% of people said yes, which shows that it would help, right? And finally, if some of your Debian work was remunerated, would you be able to spend more time coding Debian? Well, 40% said yes, 36% said maybe, but it would require some changes. So, analyzing them, it looks like people would be happy to spend more time if they were to get remunerated, or they want to. It looks like they want to, but they cannot. There are lots of subjective answers that also point towards the same, right? So I think the project funding and other initiatives that we have at Friction are good for that. Like, people are trying to use it, but interestingly, a lot of people still don't know it. So let's jump to another answer. Yeah, so this is something interesting. We asked what kind of work is acceptable to be paid by Debian itself to Debian contributors, and we had a good response. Only like 8% of people say that no work is acceptable, but other than that, people are happy in getting in other people or people themselves getting paid to work on Debian and paid by Debian themselves, right? So this is good, even though if you see 25% people think that any work is acceptable to be paid by Debian, but then there are different categories where people are okay. So that's there. And then if they're paid by external funding, only 3.57% say that no work is acceptable to be paid by external funding, but a bunch of people do believe that it's good to be paid. So there's that as well. And lastly, I just want to skip to this one. Anton mentioned about the project funding, and so we asked, were you aware of the possibility to request a grant from Friction for projects improving Debian? It's our project funding initiative. Almost 50% said yes, and 50% said no, they did not know, but now they know. So, which is like very cool. Some people have already raised topics for project funding, and you can do that as well. And so, yeah, this is just some interesting answers that I found. Compiled a good amount of, good amount of content. A compiled result will be sent to the mailing list soon.
Okay, thanks a lot for this information. It was pretty interesting, and yes, it's interesting that only 50% of people know about this project funding initiative. So I would really ask you if you are interested in, you have some ideas what can be funded, so please go to the corresponding page on the wiki, and also you can have a nice talk, DebConf 21 project funding, and you can contact us about this one, or you can apply just for a new project. So thanks a lot for everybody. I would start a Q&A session. Do you have any more questions? Yeah, please, Tobias.
There's a question from IRC, from Luna. Can I donate a small amount, like $10 to $20, for helping the LTS team if I still run Buster?
It's a good question. I'm not really able. So please go to the website of Frixian, and I think you can mail to sales@frixian.org, and I think it is also possible, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, it's very interesting, and I hope that we'll be able to answer this question positive.
Thank you.
So, do you have any more question about general LTS and maybe? There was some question about whether it's easy to do security updates generally. And well, I can say from my experience, no, it's not easy, because usually you're working with the software which is not quite software which you know very good. It's usually the new package. You have no idea, or you have less idea how it's working, and you just read the description about the security update. You probably have already patches, but in most of case, patches are not for the version which you need to fix. So it means that you have to apply the patch which was written for newer version to an older version. Sometimes it happens, sometimes no. And if it doesn't happen, so you have to modify the patch. And sometimes the patches are really huge. And you have to evaluate, okay, whether you are really ready to fix it, because there is always a risk to break some stuff. And so you have to decide what to do with these updates, and that is why, I hope. Do you have any other experience, Utkarsh?
No, it's the same. I just
want
to open the Friction page.
Yeah, please.
I just show this here. About Bruno's question, like you can just contact this team here, sales@friction.com, if you want to do this. And yeah, thank you for asking.
Yeah, I think it should be some kind of donations that can be in a smaller amount. Yes, so just to finish my speech about security updates, and you have to think about users. So if they are using stable release, they hope it stays stable, so it will not be broken. And we are trying to test our updates as much as we can. So we are using, for example, last year's, we are trying to use as much as possible Salsa CI continuous integration. So we are including auto package tests if it's possible. We are compiling the software for different architectures. We are trying to test it as much as we can, just to guarantee that the update will not break something. Of course, regressions happen. We have to be honestly, and if it happens, we try to react as soon as possible to fix it, and we're also working with the reporter to provide some more information. But generally, usually it's very stable one. So if the developer needs help from other team members about asking some questions about patch or about how to test the package, how to test it better, usually teams are very responsive, and they are providing information how to do it or even help with the testing. Yeah. Any more questions about LTS and maybe about the process, how we're working? Any more questions?
So as you've announced on the ELTS side, I think a couple of months ago, regarding going longer than originally planned. So any update or news on that aspect, what you plan to do differently, or will you just do it longer? I mean, also in the context, as you said, maintaining older version gets harder and harder and harder. At some point, it may even become impossible.
Yeah.
I just read that the kernel is transitioning now to a newer version. Yeah. So is there any already experience or some feeling for that?
Yeah. Utkarsh, could you please show when you are on the website of Rixian, just to show the releases, release table?
You mean this one?
It's okay. Yeah. Actually, it was not supposed to make longer extended LTS, but some customers says, "Hey, guys, maybe you can continue it because everything is working. Why should we just update our servers because of end of period?" And we said, okay, we try to do it with some restrictions. So first, kernel, we are not able to support the whole kernel of old versions, so we need to backport. And that is why also I think we cut some architectures which are not interested to the particular customers, but basically it was the demand that from some corporate segments that they need to have software which is running longer time. And if you see other distributions, they are providing commercial support also for 10 years. So actually Debian is now getting almost on the same range like other distributions. So it will be more attractive for corporate segment mostly. But yes, it's not easy. We have a lot of packages which are really outdated, which are really not supported anymore, and even sometimes we need to backport not only Linux kernel, but some other packages, not the larger one. I think we had some database, MySQL, PostgreSQL, and some others. So basically, if it is possible, if it is really technically possible to provide updates for older versions, we do it. If not, we talk to customers or we make a decision to upgrade to a newer version. But in this case, we need to test sometimes reverse dependencies just to be sure that we do not break something other. But the main idea of all security updates is to take updates as minimal as possible to close really security issues, not to provide any other features, not to provide any other regressions, only to fix everything which is broken. Yeah, thanks for your question.
And from a staffing perspective, I mean, this is a discussion. I'm involved in the CIP kernel. So we are also discussing again and again the topic, can we staff another kernel? How much more effort will come? There are some synergies, obviously, but I guess this still is not infinite. Yeah. So do you see any shortages on that, or is it actually, are you growing with the team in this regard as well?
You mean the whole extended LTS team, or
yeah, in general. I mean, the more version you have, you start now, and I guess it's getting more and more the longer you keep it. And
yes, we see. For 2 months we had only one version in LTS and one version in ELTS. Now we have 2 versions in ELTS, and we needed to update our internal infrastructure to support 2 versions. And if we see the diagram. Utkarsh, where is the? Okay, doesn't matter.
LTS or ELTS?
Yeah,
this
LTS.
is ELTS. Oh, okay. LTS is this.
Yeah, actually, in 2 years we're supposed to have 3 ELTS versions and 1 LTS, and you see we are supporting 4 versions parallel. It's not really complicated, but managing the whole of this stuff is a relatively difficult task. But I think we'll do it good. Yeah, thank you for your question. Yeah. Microphone.
Thank you. For packages that start accumulating a big list of diffs in Debian patches due to various security updates, I've been wondering if it isn't easier to do something like a point release or a backport of when there is a new upstream version that doesn't break API, doesn't break anything, it's just a clean up, fix up new upstream. I know we don't have backports for LTS, and it's also supported by the official backports of Debian, but could be something that Debian could do, because it's like we are forking. I mean, it gets to a point where we accumulate enough patches that we are forking, and then at least let's realign with later upstream when possible.
So we did discuss the possibility of point releases, but there are multiple things involved, right? So we never got to a conclusion, but this is a good point. We can spin up the conversation again. We can spin up this whole idea of having point releases. So yeah, I mean, that is something also we can do as well.
Yes, Utkarsh is right. We are discussing this topic to have some kind of point releases, because right now it's working so that if you have a bug fix, we are just fixing the package and we upload it right now, today. So it means that you get 30, 40 updates per month. Sometimes it is really necessary, because if you have some really important security updates, you have to update your software as soon as possible. But we are also trying to fix all problems in the software which are security related. So it means that if there are some problems, so-called no DSA, so basically it means that the security team says, okay, we are, we know security problem exists, but it's not so important. It is difficult to exploit the vulnerability. So they are marking it so-called no DSA. For normal stable and old stable releases, it just means that they will not update the package, but it's the work of maintainer to update the package through so-called stable proposed updates or old stable proposal updates. So it just means that in 2 or 3 months, you get the whole set of all updates, and you can do it at once. For LTS and ELTS, if you do not have it right now, so we are trying to fix all, even no DSA problems inside. So it means it makes really sense to provide some kind of point releases, but at the moment we don't have it, and maybe we will try to do it in the near future. But again, we need to coordinate how many updates are coming, because if you are just updating one package, there's one risk of break something. If you update many packages at one time, so we have high risk to break some stuff. So we have some thoughts about it, but I think we'll go to this strategy also in the near future.
Hold on a second, just let me clarify. Were you talking about point releases of packages or point releases of Debian, I mean LTS?
I kind of had in mind something more like backports, but then also, I mean, it's various shades of, various ways of approaching the problem of when a new upstream version is probably better than a lot of patches.
Sure.
Like in Debian, we do have point releases of stable that don't break stable, but it's not security stuff. Could be something similar, could be backports if it's for similar packages. I'm not sure Friction is entitled to release new versions of an obsolete Debian. Then maybe it's called something else, or maybe it's not done by Friction and it needs to cooperate with something that is Debian to do it. I mean, it's just various options to address the avoiding forking packages in Debian patches and keeping the delta minimal.
Sure. No, yeah, makes sense. And we have been doing those for some packages like ClamAV and other packages where we want to, instead of just doing large patches, backporting large package, which is patches, which is also risky. We do the newer upstream releases, like we backport the newer upstream releases for some packages, which are like special packages. We generally want to just backport the patches if it's minimal and if it would make sense. But on a case-by-case basis, we also backport newer upstream releases, like ClamEv. It's on the newest upstream version and things, other packages like that.
This comes from seeing Mailman on ELTS with like a ridiculous amount of Debian patches. So I was like, well, why is this happening? Can we have a newer Mailman? But then, okay, I also have the question, why are people running Mailman on Jesse? Can we quote them for help in porting that Mailman setup to stable? Because that's if that is exposed to the internet and has a web interface, there's no way it can be kept safe.
There is Mailman being supported in ELTS as of now. So there are 22% people.
Okay, thank you for your question. Are there any more questions regarding LTS? Could you please give microphone? Oh yeah, thank you.
Not so much a question, just to say thanks. My company's got a pretty long upgrade schedule, so we get a tremendous amount of value from LTS. So thank you for running this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, any more questions about LTS, ELTS, and how the team is working? And yeah. If no, I thank you, everybody. I see we have a lot of people here. I'm very surprised that some people are interested in this topic. And yeah, have a nice day here and during the DebConf, and we'll see you. Thank you a lot.